at 97.3 ESPN.com. Frank Klose writes, the Phillies let Maikel Franco stick around a little too long. How is this even possible?
Well, that's a separate argument, and I don't disagree with that. I mean, they could have given Kingery the third base job a couple weeks ago.
Sure. They definitely, they try. They have benched him, though, in the past, and they have to keep going back to him.
Yeah.
So why now have they just banished him to AAA? And is it a smart move? I can't think of a reason that Sean Rodriguez, Frank, is a more valuable asset or commodity to this team than Franco is. He's not a better defensive player than Franco is. He can't hit the ball over the fence. We looked at his numbers. He struck out 24 times in 41 games. Franco's only struck out 49 times in 111 games. So why did the Phillies make the decision of Rodriguez over Franco?
Well, I don't think this is what their decision was about. It wasn't about Rodriguez versus Franco. It was about Corey Dickerson over Maikel Franco. When the Phillies traded for Corey Dickerson, it looked like I guess he would be their starting left fielder most of the time, although they were kind of easing him in, as they said, since he was suffering from a groin injury. But once you decided to really bring him in, he kind of pushes Adam Hasley to center field, who has proven that he should play. Roman Quinn has proven lately that he should get some more time to play. So then Scott Kingery is your third baseman. And so the question of whether Maikel Franco deserves to be on this team then comes down to, can he actually fill a bench role? Is there anything that he can provide to a team in the bench role? And the only thing I can really come up with that he could do for them is to maybe be a late inning defensive replacement. If you're just comparing Sean Rodriguez and Maikel Franco, for that last bench spot, you need to give the bench spot to somebody who has positional versatility. And if it's going to be a right-handed bat, it's got to be somebody who can hit left-handed pitching. And if you compare Maikel Franco's numbers against lefties, he's batting 198 in all those chances he's had all year. And Sean Rodriguez, now, of course, I tweet right before he hits into a double play against the lefty. But even after that double play, Sean Rodriguez is batting 297 against lefties. And so considering that spot on the bench is probably the last guy to bat except for the backup catcher, you need to be able to utilize him against left-handed pitching, and because you're pretty much set with with left-handed bats to bat against righties.
In fairness, Frank, I would have to think the sample size for Maikel Franco against lefties compared to Sean Rodriguez against lefties is much larger, to the point where if Sean Rodriguez were to have as many at-bats against left-handed pitching, maybe he's still better than Maikel Franco.
Well, the point comes to this,
I don't
Frank.
know that it's that.
You just said it. Basically, I can't think of a reason or a way that Rodriguez would be in the field. Like, he's the third baseman. He's the fourth left fielder. Yeah, he might be a second baseman or a shortstop, but they would probably use Kingery at one of those positions ahead of him, and you could play. Franco's a better defensive player, and he has the ability. He's third on the team in home runs. Like, I get his batting average against lefties, but late in the game, you're looking for a guy who can pop one over the fence or even hit if he just hits a long fly ball the other day, now they have a guy at third base. Instead, Rodriguez, who can't hit the ball out of the infield, grounds into a double play. I mean, how is there a scenario where Rodriguez's versatility comes into play? Kingery offers the versatility. Your starter offers the versatility, which deems his versatility meaningless.
Well, Mike, you mentioned home runs. Sean Rodriguez, 3 home runs against left-handed pitchers this year. Maikel Franco, 4. Maikel Franco did that in almost 50 more at-bats. So if your argument is that it's just the home run possibility, well, Rodriguez is at a much better clip. And if you look at their walks, Rodriguez has 4 off the lefties. Franco has 10. Again, much larger sample size. In fact, if he's failed that much in a larger sample size, I think that's the reason why you can't go with him.
I don't know, Frank. I feel like the analytics now have, and I'm fine with analytics. I'm not one of those people who blast them, but if for a team, I think you could raise equal arguments. Hey, the Phillies have a shaky back end of their bullpen. They don't really have an official closer who's very good, even when Neris is in there. If you're going to have a shaky ninth inning guy, shaky eighth inning guy, and you have a lead, I want to protect that lead. I may value then Maikel Franco's defense at third base in the ninth inning, trying to protect the 5-2 lead. I can move Kingery to second. Cesar comes out again. Whatever than what I'm getting out of Sean Rodriguez. I just feel like there's enough on both sides to the point where then let's just make the move, the common sense move. I have a hard time validating Rodriguez over Maikel in any way.
Well, there's a few more layers here as well. So you talk about the defense. I think right now they're getting better range at third base, left to right from Scott Kingery than they do Maikel Franco. He has the better arm, and I think he's got the better hand. So it's not just a slam dunk here because we're basically talking about the starter and giving. Even though I think third base is Kingery's worst position defensively, it's been okay, but also you have to consider the overall roster construction at this time of year under these new rules. This is a new era beginning this year where you can't make any August trades. So in a way, you have to find a way, and it was going to probably happen to Zach Eflin too had Adam Morgan not gotten hurt. You have to find ways to stash guys at AAA that might be your September call-ups. And that means that somebody who, would have gotten traded, or you would just say, well, we could have grabbed Corey Dickerson in August last year. This year we can't. So now we got to find a way for everybody to coexist. And when Jay Bruce comes back, there's probably going to be another roster decision that might look a little funny.
Yeah, any insight as to what that roster decision might look like?
I think they're going to play it up to the wire because as we saw many other times that you think that it's going to work out one way and then another player gets hurt. Adam Morgan got hurt right when they would have had to make a decision whether or not to send somebody like Zach Eflin to AAA simply because he had a minor league option. And so you really kind of need to wait on those things. And, they really do have a very left-handed bench. I think Adam Hasley's been tremendous. He might get kind of squeezed in something like that, even though he probably doesn't deserve to go to the minor leagues if it is as constructed now. But wait and see. The Phillies might use Corey Dickerson in center a little bit and Bruce in left. And even though it's a shame Adam Hasley's going to AAA, they probably want him back in September. And really it's not that far away. But unfortunately, you have to play these types of roster games right now. And even the Braves, I think they tried to sneak one of their 5 starters through waivers thinking, oh, nobody's going to claim this guy. He's making $9 million. So what do you know? The Reds go grab Kevin Gossman, and he's not Braves anymore. So it's a very different kind of August right now. So you kind of have to play along those lines as well.
We'll get to the mailbag questions in just a second. Something Jeff brought up earlier, he asked about Alec Baum. I don't see a scenario where they would bring him up in September. Would he? He's not even on the 40-man. They would have to make a 40-man move too, right?
They would, and really, right now, the way this September rules work now, you basically get to carry a backup catcher, one extra arm in your bullpen, and then one other position player. It's really not that flexible like it used to be. So
they put restrictions on how many guys you can call up now, right?
It can only be 3 extra this year. So, and again, assuming, and maybe teams don't do this, I'm assuming that you want a third catcher in there still. And then I'm assuming you probably want another bullpen arm around. That seems to be that's going to happen no matter what, which basically means you've got room for one extra position player. And squeezing him now, I don't think is going to be a good idea. I still think with Baum, he's going to come to spring training. He's going to get a chance to show what he can do. There will be some veteran type who's going to start the year as third baseman, but Baum will be up shortly.
So Chris asked the question about Franco, and so we kind of touched on that. What about Vince Velasquez and his outing last night? Laura wants to know if Friday's night game kind of changed him somehow and got him more engaged.
Well, what a night that was. By the way, I went down with some friends, and I was standing, and for thinking that we could run out of the park after the ninth inning. Well, that didn't really work out, and boy, was I tired of standing. But that was one of those games that would have been one for the ages if the Phillies had won, and something that you would talk about for years, like people talk about Roy Oswalt in left field and Wilson Valdez winning a game. But certainly, I think Vince is the type of guy that any type of positive step like this will make him feel good and confident about himself. So there might be some of that effect there, but he's got to show that he can average more than than 5 innings to start. And when's the last time he pitched 7? And you really look on the calendar, you had to go to almost a year ago. And so, he's got to carry that a lot further than 1 7-inning start a year. He's really got to try to funnel that into, consistency. And, I think the Phillies, now that Zach Eflin's out of the rotation, now that Nick Pivetta is out of the rotation, they can afford 1 rotation slot to be on a question mark, and they seem committed to letting Velasquez be that question mark the rest of the way. So we'll see. Hopefully he's got some confidence that it'll take him another 8 weeks or so.
Speaking of that Friday night embarrassment, Frank, did we ever get an explanation from Gabe on why they decided to go with Roman Quinn over Hasley, who had actually been a pitcher and a pretty good one in college?
I don't know if he said why he went one over the other. I think he knew that Hasley would be the next guy. He did say that Hasley did have the experience pitching. Quinn had a really foul thing already, so maybe I guess that's what he had in mind. But Hasley definitely would have been the next man up in that situation had they gone another inning.
I just can't surmise why, if a guy was pretty good in college and he's only a few years removed from college, you wouldn't have gone with Hasley first.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, and let's face it, that might not have been.
I don't know if it would have solved anything. I mean, we're still talking about position players, but if you're going to pick one over the other, wouldn't you go with the pedigree?
Yeah, that's possible. And then, or do you go with Scott Kingery, who pitched some too? I mean, there. Honestly, at that point, it almost doesn't matter. They need to score some runs and not let that be a thing.
Right, and then the whole situation with Eflin, who he said his triceps hurt, so he wasn't going to be able to pitch, but he sent him up there to hit and then ran for him. I mean, it just seemed like they didn't the right hand wasn't talking to the left hand, it seemed like Friday night.
Yeah, I think that more than they let us know that kind of played out in a way where Eflin probably was feeling uncomfortable as he went, and I didn't really notice from where I was standing at that point, what the relays were going on between perhaps the first base coach and Kepler in the dugout. I mean, maybe the first base coach had said something like, we got to get him out of here at this point, because I do remember Velasquez almost like looking up like, oh, my turn, and kind of running out there. It didn't seem like that was something they were planning to do. It seemed like it kind of unfolded that way, maybe because he was a little uncomfortable there. But there are no injury list stints for Eflin. I was kind of wondering if we would see such a thing.
Real quick, Frank, Bryce Harper last night, new batting stance, 2 hits, no strikeouts. Are we now in MVP form here? Is this the be-all, end-all for Bryce Harper?
Well, Bryce Harper also shaved his beard. I think that has great value attached to it. So, yeah. So, but no, I think that this is typical Harper. He gets his stretches where he's super hot, and really, if he can really be that hot player the next couple months, that will make all the difference.
Frank Klose, by the way, when Bruce comes back, as we kind of hinted at, there's going to have to be another roster move. And you said Hasley would most likely be the guy out. But is there any bullpen arms that are on the way back too? I mean, I know there's been a lot of injuries in that bullpen. Is there any news on the horizon there?
No, unfortunately. They're going to be without their 4 back-end starters that they went into the season with, and they'll be without Adam Morgan for probably till September. It looks like there's no surgery that's going to be necessary for Morgan, which is good because you might have a shot to see him in September, but he's not going to pick up a baseball for a couple weeks. So really your top 5 relievers that you went into the season with, you don't have. And I heard somebody on the National MLB Network today just basically saying, like, hey, if that Phillies bullpen's healthy, that's the championship bullpen. But all 5 of them are gone, and they're not coming back anytime soon. Maybe you might be lucky to get Morgan and September out of that 5-pack there.
So Hunter, Dominguez, Nishak, Robertson, they're all gone.
Yeah, and Green. Not Green, Morgan, I mean.
Right, so that's quite a hole that's left behind. And, the guys that they got, Marin and Parker, they're useful. They're probably your second-tier type bullpen pieces, but more times than not, they should probably get the job done.
We'll be criticizing them in a week. Trust me.
Parker threw well on Friday night. He had
Give it a week.
4 strikeouts in the 2 innings he came in.
Yeah, there was a reason they were available.
That's true. He's Frank Klose. Follow him at Frank Klose with a K. That's Klose on Twitter for all your Phillies. And, of course, follow him on our website, 973ESPN.com. His Phillies Mailbag has questions on the playoffs, Franco, Velasquez. Check it out.